we're here at the beautiful Caribe Royale Orlando Resort, broadcasting live from their hot new interactive sports bar, Stadium Club. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Boxing Lab, presented by MVP here at the beautiful Caribe Royale Resort. My name is Wade Plemons, and joining me today, an esteemed panel of experts in the combat sports world to talk about last week's event, Jake Paul versus Mike Perry, and the future of combat sports for MVP and pretty much everyone else. To my left, Amaury Piedra, the managing director here at the Caribe Royale Resort and president of Box Lab Promotions. To his left, Mike Leanardi, the director of boxing and MVP, and to his left, Larry Wade. We're sharing the Wade name. We're doing it justice.
Yes, absolutely.
A strength and conditioning coach, expert, and head of strength and conditioning for Jake Paul. Gentlemen, today I wanted to speak on, we'll call it a historic event that we just went through. And Mike, I want to start with you. You put together, quite frankly, a miracle here. A month to prepare off, I think, what everybody knows now would be, an unfortunate situation with the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. Mike experiencing some health issues. You had to pivot, and you did so. Talk to me about how this event came together, how you did record numbers in just under a month.
Yeah, as I think everyone can appreciate, putting together a pay-per-view event in 4.5 weeks or so is a Herculean effort. And, you know, Larry knows this intimately. Jake, very much wanted to fight again on July 20th. You know, finding an opponent worthy, finding a venue, finding a distribution partner. There's a lot of things that go into an event of this scale. And, you know, it's not uncommon to have 3 months lead time to do something like this. So doing it in 4.5 weeks or so took a lot of effort from everyone at MVP, at DAZN, at Box Lab Promotions. You know, it was a full team effort, but we pulled it off, and it was a great night.
Box Lab Promotions getting this fight card together and putting on not just obviously Jake Paul, Mike Perry, but a stacked undercard. Talk to me about the process of that, and again, how you pulled that off.
Listen, obviously, Amanda wanted to fight as well. She was getting ready for July 20th. She wanted to fight. Ashton wanted to fight. Everybody was ready to go. Then we built the undercard around it. But I think the show from top to bottom, well, starting with the first bout, all the way through Jake's main event was just phenomenal. And the electricity in the crowd proved that. And I think it was just it was a fantastic event. And as Mike said, a true team effort by everybody to pull it off.
Yeah, electricity is the word, and fight week was just as electric. I mean, I came in to Tampa on Monday, and immediately we had fireworks. Jake Paul, Mike Perry in the face-to-face. And I wasn't ready for the bromance, the relationship, but also the intensity. It was like in one moment they would be going back and forth on a joke, and then in the next they were at each other's neck. I couldn't get the energy just to calm down, and I didn't want to. It was an amazing fight week, but Larry, I wanted to come to you with that. You were around Jake for the entirety of the last, I guess, 3-4 months now.
Yes.
And all the chaos that surrounded it.
9-10 months.
Yeah. It just feels like you haven't had a break here.
Right.
Now we're getting to sit down and take a breath. But if you can, go back in your mind, what was fight week like for you being in camp with Jake?
Well, before I touch up on that, let me kind of try to explain that for those who are really paying close attention, this is his 4th fight within 12 months. So that means we spent a lot of time together over the last 15 months or so, or 12 months or so. And so this last camp was definitely different.
Yeah.
As you heard from the people on the panel here, that it took a lot of professional experience and knowledge to be able to pull this event off in such a short period of time. The same thing applies to me, Jake, and the rest of the team with Third and Jay Leon. Yep. We thought there was no fight. We were told when Mike pulled out that we were finished, that nothing was going to happen. And Jake told us, hey, listen, Mike fight out. We're going to go home. We're going to spend maybe another week just to kind of finish out 8 weeks of it. And then you can go home to your families. And then he went on a trip to Miami. And I'm like, okay. He comes back. We're fighting. I'm like, what? I thought we were going home.
It's
who
the
we
Jake
fighting?
Paul way, right?
Right? I'm like, who are we fighting? He's like, Mike. Thought Mike's out. Not that Mike. Mike Perry. Who? Mike Perry. And when he said it, the one thing you know about Jake is He's very passionate about everything he does.
Yeah.
And the look that he has, I always say it's the look of a sociopath when he has it. The look that he has when he said, we're fighting Mike, I knew there was no turning back. It was all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
And so we had to restructure because we were preparing for 2-minute rounds. Now we got a guy who doing 3-minute rounds, so we had to change training. From a weight standpoint, we were fighting heavy.
Yeah.
And we were fighting real heavy, actually. Jake had got up to around 238 pounds. And we're looking at 5 weeks. And I asked him what weight class. I was like, we're going to be 210 maybe. He was like, 200. So we had to lose 38 pounds.
38
pounds.
In a matter of how many weeks?
5.
5 weeks.
We lost 38 pounds in 5 weeks. So the entire training changed from bulking up and getting more muscle and being stronger to leaning out, trying to lose some fat, and at the same time a little muscle because it's hard to separate the two. And we got to the finish line, and that's what true professionals know how to do. These individuals on this panel, they've been here before. This is not their first time putting together big events.
Yeah.
Amaury puts one together all the time. You know, that's just how the game works. And so we knew what we had to do. Yeah. We restructured it through hook or crook. We got there, and the event went off without a hitch.
Yeah, listen, that's the biggest thing that I keep coming back to with this entire fight week and event. It was just so many chaotic factors going into it. Somehow, all brought together in a perfect event that went off, like you said, without a hitch. But fight week, I wanted to come back to you, Amaury, with this. You were on stage during the weigh-ins. You saw, and I see this all the time in fight weeks, the intensity rise as we get there. First, you might start off buddy, and hey, I don't want to say too much, but as we get there, that last day, I wanted you to speak to what did you see on stage from the fighters and kind of exclusively the main event as well?
Look, I think you saw it with everyone. It's a big stage. People realized the enormity of the event. Great event. I thought everybody felt the energy growing and the tension growing as we went through the week. You got to weigh in and you could see it on the fighters' faces. Hey, it's here. You know, they're seeing the venue, they're seeing everything. They're seeing everything out on social media, and everybody got amped up.
Yeah.
And from the first fight all the way through. And then it peaked at Jake and Mike, and you know, they were ready to go at it.
I was gonna ask Mike, does it make you a little nervous though, these last weigh-ins when guys start pushing and shoving? It wasn't necessarily even Jake and Mike, thank goodness.
Yeah.
The team started rumbling a little bit. It has to make you nervous, right? You got 1 day from the fight.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's great promotion. The fans love it. You're always worried. There's a non-zero chance someone gets hurt.
That's what I'm saying. Something happens, and then all of a sudden, you know.
It's incredibly unlikely and almost never happens, but the chance is not zero.
Yeah. Well, we got through it, luckily, and we get to the event, and I do want to start with the main event, and Coach Wade, we'll go to you. How does a fight night work in a camp with Jake Paul? Like, how does the energy feel? How do you prepare on fight night? And then ultimately, you know, once the fight starts, how are you feeling?
I'm a little different than Jake. Jake is superhuman. I always say he has this unique ability to put things in compartments.
Yeah.
He can be Jake Paul, the superstar social media guy. He could be Jake Paul, the promoter. He could be Jake Paul W.
He was all three, by the way, on fight night. He was all three of them.
Unique ability to go from wearing all those different hats to Jake Paul, the gladiator. And he's able to switch to that thing immediately. I don't know how he does it, but he has a unique ability to just go from happy to I'm focused and ready to go. So his energy is always pretty much the same. He's kind of like freelance, free and happy, not speaking a whole hell of a lot, but definitely speaking around. And what happens is that moment comes and he's locked in and everybody has to move out the way.
Yeah.
And that's how fight night comes. When he hits that point, we know it's go time and we're all ready.
When, you know, obviously preparing for Mike Perry versus Mike Tyson, you know, there was a lot of different things. The weight being one, the minutes of the rounds being one, the fight style being one. Once fight night came and once the fight started, what were, you know, if you can speak on now, some of the keys to victory that you guys wanted to focus in on?
Well, once we realized it was Mike Perry, it was like, okay, we got to get fast again.
Yeah.
We got to be more explosive. We got to get more conditioned. When we were getting ready to fight Mike Tyson, there was only 2-minute rounds, which in essence means from a training standpoint, we only have to train the anaerobic system, right? Because anything under 2 minutes is anaerobic.
Hit us with that knowledge now. So
Yeah.
he's doing anaerobic sounds.
anaerobics.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Hey, listen, I
getting good now.
gotta
This is
tell you
getting
why
good
they
now.
pay me the money.
Let me lock in. Okay.
And so
aerobic
we were just
system, got it.
training that, which means we weren't doing a lot of long runs. We weren't doing many workouts over 2 minutes to get ready for the true conditioning side of things. And we had trained like that for 7 weeks.
And plus, you showed me a picture of Jake. He looked like an inside linebacker. He looked like honestly like a 3 technique D tackle. He is huge.
And it was all strength. He was so strong, so explosive. But we were looking for a different type of fight.
Yeah.
Immediately at that point, we had to all change our position,
Yeah.
and I had to go get more cardio because now we have a lot more mass to not only use but to burn.
Yep.
And so we had to really just work on cutting that weight off because we knew it was going to be a challenge, and we also knew it was going to come down to the last day to get that 38 pounds off, and that was the main focus in trying to get more spar rounds in over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So we go 8 rounds, you go 4, 5, 6 rounds for heavyweight. You got a little time. We're only going 8, but now you got to go 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So we have to change everything. So the one thing I can say is with us having to increase the volume in the middle of a camp is very difficult, but Jake took it on like a soldier. And for those who are watching, Jake never cried. He never complained. He came and tied his shoes up every day, asked me what we had to do, gave me a little look like, I don't really like you, but but he put in the work.
Yeah.
He made the decision, he locked down on it, and we got there. We felt like this was the best way to get him there and us perform. And what happened, in my opinion, I felt like around the 3rd round, you start to see some of that, right? But after the 4th round, going into the 5th round, he started to pep up more.
Yeah.
And
His
I
volume-
knew that,
his
and I
volume
knew
went
that
up
would
crazy.
happen.
Yeah, the volume increase.
Yeah. I knew that would happen because we put in the work.
Yeah.
You cannot expect results from work you didn't put in, and he put in all the work. So I knew at some point he would feel it. Immediately after the fight, we were in the back. Well, before we got there, he hugged me. He said, "Hey, I love you, coach." We go to the back. He says to me, "I felt my second win around that fifth round." I said, "I'm good. I'm ready."
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. When you don't put in that work, it only continues to go down.
Yeah.
What he did was he put in the work there. He knew it. I feel like the weight cut played a bit of a part based on how much we had to lose and the amount of time we had to lose it in. But when you put in the proper conditioning, it's going to always come back to you the way you want it to. And that's when you saw the increase. The punching power got there, and you saw it seem to be more explosive because now, not only from a fitness standpoint, but from an anxiety standpoint, you start to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think also too he had felt a lot of what Mike had to offer him at that point too. In the
Absolutely.
3rd round, that was
Absolutely.
Mike's biggest round. The left hooks were there, and he was being a little bit more awkward. He wasn't just staying on the center line. There's a lot of head movement that he was able to be successful with. And Mike, I wanted to come to you with that. What did you see from Jake this fight that maybe you hadn't seen in others? Maybe it was composure. Maybe it was the volume on the jab. What was the big improvement?
I think that the jab was excellent. Everybody knew the jab was the key. Perry is not very sound defensively. And when a guy is unorthodox like he is and throws wide punches, the key to beating wide punches is straight punches. And there's no straighter punch than the jab. Nothing gets there faster than the jab. So if you can land your jab, you can make the fight easy. I think George Foreman said that. A good jab makes the fight easy.
I felt the moments that Jake composed himself, like he would knock Mike Perry down. I think he almost, WWE clotheslined him down in the 1st round. It's just a sweeping right hand. And it showed you how strong he is, right? Just to be able to take a guy off his feet like that.
But it shows the frustration was there already, too.
Yeah, but he was tight and he just wanted to throw and go. But when he was composed and he did, there was a point where he just a flicker jab out and Mike started doing the chicken dance a little bit. Like that was how that showed you, the relaxed state Jake could fight in. And then I thought another thing that was a big tell to me is when he would, instead of throwing the overhands, instead of, really winding up and getting tight in his backhand, just throw the straight backhand, balancing the feet, not coming off the ground. Those were his best moments. And that's where I saw the improvement I hadn't seen from Jake in a while, is because he's fighting 1-rounders and he's knocking guys out pretty quickly. how does he look when, the pressure's put back on him, and also when he needs to recompose. And I thought he did that. And obviously, he gets the stoppage in the 6th round. Amaury, when that 6th round came and those combinations were flying, that arena was going crazy. What was the moment like?
First of all, I think the rounds did him good.
Yeah,
Because the
absolutely.
last couple
Absolutely.
fights, were first round stoppages. So I think the
Needed
extra
it.
rounds did him well. Because
Needed
at the end of the day, yes, you're sparring in camp, but there's nothing like the rounds in the fight. It's not the same.
Absolutely.
And so that's the fact that it went to round 6, I think was a good thing. Secondly, the arena was going crazy. You felt it all,
Deafening.
and I think it was a great moment. I think it was a great moment for him. Perry had his fans there too.
Oh, no
there was a
doubt.
lot of Perry fans.
They booed Jake
There was,
coming out.
there was a
They
lot
booed
of
Jake
Perry
coming
fans there. So, I think he proved himself against a very worthy opponent, tough opponent. And I think this was a great performance for him. Again, getting those rounds in and just gaining that experience, which you can't get anywhere else.
I mean this in the best way possible. I think Florida identifies with Mike Perry very well. I think a lot of Floridians look at Mike Perry and
For what you say about Floridians.
no, but
Hey,
I mean,
let's just call it what it is. Mike Perry's a Florida man.
Yeah, he's a Florida guy.
He's a
He's a
Florida
Florida guy.
and I think people look at him and like, I would hang out with that guy. I'd go fishing with that guy.
Right.
He represents Florida to the best I think anyone could. And honestly, let's give Mike some credit here. Mike Perry is a fighter.
He's a dog.
Fighter's fighter. His whole life is a fight, man. And who's made more out of their potential than Mike Perry?
Yep.
Not many guys have. And honestly, he brought a fight to Jake that was, commendable. It wasn't something that was easy to prepare for. Obviously, Coach Wade, you spoke to that. So, getting done what Jake got done, an impressive win, one that he needed, rounds that he needed. Now let's talk about the future. It's the Mike Tyson fight in November. Let's dive into it. What do we think about this fight, November 15th? Mike, I'll come to you. It's been on the schedule before. Now we're back here again.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, it's still going to be the most watched boxing event in a long, long time.
Is it fair? I think we talked about this in the last episode. Is it fair to say the most watched, potentially most watched since Rumble in the Jungle, since closed circuit TV?
Yeah, I think that's fair given the platform and the hundreds of millions of subscribers that Netflix has.
I don't think people understand how insane that is. You're talking hundreds of millions of people tuning in to watch this fight. That's incredible.
And not to be lost in that is Taylor Serrano 2 is going to be the most watched women's fight.
Yep.
Boxing match, I said this last time, 20, 30, 40x. Most watched women's fight, including MMA, all combat sports, by a big multiple.
Not even close.
Not even close.
When you have that on the schedule, and I know that you just got out of a long camp, Coach. I guess we're going right back to the drawing board here soon, yeah?
Yeah, when we're in this moment, you try to embrace the win. Mike knows me very well. Even after the fight was over, I'm over in the corner brewing because I'm seeing the mistakes. I'm like, I already want to address it.
And to be fair, Jake was too.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this camp, this team that you guys have, is that, there really is no days off. There really is a perfectionist mindset as to what he's doing. He walked out of his locker room and he's going to go do media, and he made a point to stop and tell me, he goes, I should have done it quicker. And then he goes in and does it. So I love that attitude.
Right.
I think it's going to serve you guys in the fight coming up. Amaury, I'll come to you with this. We talked about it, and it's been building now for a long time. I just want your thoughts. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, how crazy is this?
Who would have thought a couple years ago or a year ago that would be happening, right? So that's number one. And I think that it's, as Mike said, I think, who knows how many millions are going to watch, but it's definitely going to be the record. And you go back to closed circuit TV and Rumble in the Jungle, and I remember going to see that in a theater on closed circuit TV. That was before your time, Mike. But anyway, it was before your time too.
Before my time.
But anyway, it's incredible, and I think that the fact that Mike is willing to do this, kudos to him. The fact that Jake's willing to do it, kudos to him. And it'll be a much different fight than what we saw on Saturday. So it's going to be very, very different. So I think it's great for the sport of boxing. I think it's great for just the Jake Paul fans, the Mike Tyson fans of old that never got a chance to see him live. Some of the kids, hey, I'm going to take you to see Mike Tyson, this and that. And I just think it's a great accomplishment on the part of MVP to put that together.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be listed on BoxRec as a matchmaker for a Mike Tyson fight.
How about that?
To me, that's
Yeah,
absolutely
did you ever think that was
mind-blowing.
gonna happen?
Never,
Right.
never.
How about that?
One of my earliest childhood memories is Tyson Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
I was 7 years old. I still remember where I was. I was with my dad watching that fight. I remember the TV. It's a 35-inch Mitsubishi with the wood paneling on the
Oh
sides.
man, he's
I
going
mean,
in, dude. Look at this.
Wait a
Like-
minute, that's normal for us. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm saying like
that's
Well,
my
listen, I don't-
childhood. What
I
are you
didn't
talking
grow-
about?
Listen, I
that's
didn't
one of
grow
my
up in the,
earliest
in the,
memories
you know?
is Mike Tyson.
Right.
So to me, it's just it's incredible.
Jake got a direct message there from Conor McGregor. Coach Wade, you're making a face over there. What's going on? What do you think about Conor McGregor calling out your boy?
It's easy, Connor. Sign a contract. It's easy. I mean, at the end of the day, Connor knows this firsthand that boxing is different. He experienced it firsthand with Floyd.
Yep.
Floyd showed us the way before any of us seen this coming. When I saw Floyd spar for the first time off of his break, getting ready for Connor, he didn't have a good spar. He was getting beat up pretty bad. And I was like, hey, man, not bad for your first day. He said, nah, it was bad. I said, no, pretty good. He said, no. He said, but I'm working on something. I said, what you working on? He's like, this guy doesn't understand boxing. He doesn't understand how it takes to go 12 rounds for 3 minutes, or 10 round for 3 minutes, or 8 round for 3 minutes. He's going to come out and give me everything he got, and I'm going to walk him down and get him out of here. Now, that's crazy to me at that time, hearing Floyd say that, because Floyd has stepped away from being the knockout guy he had been. He had become he was money made now. He just technique you down. He wasn't really trying to knock you out. But he's like, I'm getting him out of here. So when I hear it and I see it, then I'm like, okay, he showed us the plan. What should be done in those types of spaces? Conor got a lot to do.
Yeah.
So if he feels like Jake is all those negative things he called him, then
Do you want to
Then run it.
yeah.
Let's run it.
And I'm trying to say it without just saying it.
Yeah.
Well, get your ass in there then.
There you go.
Show us.
Yeah.
Shut him up. The best way to do this, make him stop.
Yeah.
Get in there and beat him.
I think Conor's got 2 fights left on his deal, so always a reality, potential there.
The best thing about conflict in combat sports is you can just punch a guy in the face.
Easy resolution.
You can just
Easy
set it up.
resolution.
Easy resolution.
Easy resolution. You can just set it up, make a ton of money, punch the guy in the face, and see what happens.
Manny Serrano, Stevie Morgan. There was a resolution needed there because a lot of chirping going on from one Stevie Morgan coming into fight week, and I think we all know how Amanda deals with that and how she dealt with it on fight night. Amaury, talk to us.
Different levels to this.
Yeah.
And I think we saw a different level. And I think you saw a fighter that, talked a lot of smack going in and then quickly realized that they were at a different level. And Amanda did exactly what she had to do, which she went in there. She got the job done against a fighter that, hey, all respect to Stevie Morgan, is not on her level. Simple as that.
It's a fighter meeting I don't think I'll ever forget. Stevie Morgan.
I wish I would have been in there, man.
Because she was asked, and this came out during fight week, she was asked by the media, why Amanda Serrano? And she said, she's low-hanging fruit. She said, out of the top fighters, she's low-hanging fruit. And Tyron Woodley asked her to expand on that because I think we all were a bit taken back.
Yeah.
Todd Grisham's texting me. He's like, low-hanging fruit, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah.
It's the fight you wanted, but, in all respect, sometimes you got to be careful what you wish, careful what you wish for. Look, Amanda is, in my opinion, the greatest female boxer of all time.
Absolutely.
She's the most decorated.
Yep.
And, the Katie Taylor fight was very close. I thought Amanda won the first fight. It was out of her weight class. But, and this one will be 2 out of her natural weight, but it's going to be a tremendous fight. It was great for Amanda to get to stay busy after March. It would have been nearly 13 months since her last fight if she hadn't fought on Saturday. So she got to go through camp, she obviously had started camp, but finished camp, go through with the fight. It was at a similar weight to what the Taylor fight's going to be. Get in front of everybody, go through the whole process and put on a show. Amanda showed it's not easy. Like, she has 31 knockouts in women's boxing. That's, Christy Martin, off the top of my head, I think had 32, you know, and that's the most. And, you know, Amanda, that's a record Amanda will break before she's done boxing. But, you know, it's just great to see her get out there, perform. Amanda's not the type that fights down to her competition. She fights at her level. And, you know, she reminded everybody, not that we needed reminding, but she reminded everybody what her level is.
I personally talked to Amanda, and I saw when she got on stage, something else turned on in her.
Absolutely.
That other thing that makes her special, which I hadn't seen personally, turned on. And I could tell she was not the same person that I thought she was going to be. And on top of that, when it comes to Stevie, I think she got in there and the lights are much brighter than what she thought they were going to be. She's never been on that stage when Amanda has been living there.
Yeah.
That's her home. You're visiting. And I think she showed that this is my space. You don't deserve to be here, and I'm going to remind the whole world why you don't.
She poked the bear.
Yeah, and Wade, you mentioned earlier about how it's different sometimes, or alluded to being ringside. We've all been ringside for Amanda. Amanda can really punch. Like
Always
her
has been.
power is even at super lightweight is still at just a different level from
Shocking
other women.
is the word
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen thrown around about it, and then you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. One of the other highlights, the showcases of the card, was the H20 Sylve and Lucas Bahdi fight. One of the scariest, most vicious knockouts I've seen live ever. And Mike, we'll go to you first. Initial thoughts on the entirety of that fight and how it played out, and if you have any update on H20, what's going on there?
Yeah, so H2O was checked out by ringside physicians, cleared. It was recommended he goes to the hospital for a CT scan. He did that. CT scan cleared him, safe to travel. He did take an extra day in Tampa just to kind of recuperate, might be too strong a word, but relax and get some sleep. He was at the hospital pretty late on Saturday night. So yeah, all is good physically with H2O. I think the blessing and what made it so shocking was he was dominating the fight.
Dominating. Dominating.
If you're taking punishment for 6 rounds and then get knocked out like that, it takes a much greater toll on you physically. But he was dominating. I'm not sure he got hit with any clean punches before that.
I think Mike is right. I mean, H2O won every second of every round until that moment. And I think, first of all, there's a lesson to be learned for every fighter out there, that it's not over till it's over, and you got to maintain your ultimate, you got to maintain your ultimate composure, your ultimate tenacity till that last bell rings.
Yes.
And it was stunning in the arena. And when that happened, there was a big gasp in the entire arena when it happened, because everybody else was seeing the same thing. And you're right, I don't think he'd gotten hit with 2 clean punches the whole fight. So credit goes to Bahdi for staying in there after he was getting dominated. And at the end of the day, he did what he had to do. But, again, H2O was dominating every round. And I think in the arena, it was just like a sense of astonishment, or like, what the heck happened?
Right.
It was, and more than anything else, like, what happened?
Yeah.
And, but it was, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I personally have a different perspective on it. First of all, that loss, he was dominating every round. This is his opportunity to determine whether or not he's going to be a world champion or not by learning from this mistake. He's still early in his career, and I feel like he has the ability to do that once he get over the mental side of it. But there is a training aspect that no one had spoke of or said aloud. I've looked at H2O for a while now, and in the last fight and also this fight, I felt from a strength conditioning standpoint, I would like to see more development. And the reason for that is because when you have that aspect, it's not just about power, it's about durability. If you have the right program in place, it doesn't mean you have to put on a lot of mass or anything of that nature, but it allows your body to endure more when you're taking contact. And when I was looking at him on stage, when I was looking at him in the ring, I saw a guy whose skill set is beyond what we've seen. I think he is so amazing in his ability to box. But that same thing that's your pro can also be your con, because you rely on it and you take things for granted. I feel as if he can learn from this lesson go back, get his strength conditioning side together so he can endure a little bit more. Now, mind you, the punches that hurt the worst are the ones you don't see. Sure. I get that. But if we are doing some more neck work, shoulder trap work, or things of this nature, maybe we get through that round and he comes back and he does what we see H2O do all the time, and that just show his fabulous boxing IQ.
So look, Lucas is someone we'd love to work with. I mean, he's not signed to anyone. He's actually promoted a number of his own shows.
Wow.
In Niagara Falls.
And how about this, not to cut you off?
Yeah.
Canada turned up.
Yeah.
Canada was in the house.
What are we talking about
He
here?
had a great...
Bahdi. Everywhere we went.
What was it, 4th, 5th round? I mean, he's losing the fight pretty handily at that point.
Yeah.
And we heard a body cheer.
Bahdi. All week, you could hear that.
They were there at the weigh-in?
They were there at the weigh-in, Canadian flags. And it was wonderful to see, man. You never know, kind of, and he might not have known. Someone gets put on a big stage, who's going to turn up and support you? That was great to see. I don't want to lose the fact that, as you mentioned, the mental fortitude to stay within there. Him and Lucas and his trainer both said after the fight, we know, he starts to lose his defense in the middle rounds. I think it might be, if that was their plan, hats off to them. Mm-hmm. And even if it was their plan, to stick with it is incredible, because he's taking a lot of punishment.
You said you mean
H2O.
H2O. Yeah. H2O starts to kind of get a little too offensive, and there's some holes there that you can.
Yep, and Lucas is I mean, it's easy to say now, but he's a bona fide puncher.
He really
16 wins at the time, 14 knockouts, and you see that on paper, and you go, okay, well,
not
who was
at
it
this
against?
level, but he
Maybe
showed.
Not. But then again, you see those combinations in that moment, like, oh my.
He showed the power.
He's got
absolutely
it in his hands. He's got pop.
And hats off to him, man, for taking the fight. Our plan was to reschedule the Floyd Schofield fight from Netflix to DAZN. DAZN was really excited about it. My friends at Golden Boy really excited about it. Floyd had an injury. I think we were a day or two from announcing we were rescheduling that fight. Or rescheduling is not the right word, but moving that fight to the Tampa card. And he had an injury, it's a bona fide injury. And I immediately started looking for a replacement. Lucas came to my radar, and I reached out to Lucas personally, and he took the fight in 3.5, 4 weeks notice. That's a little deceiving because he fought at the beginning of June, so he was fresh off a fight. Right. He was fresh off a fight. But I mean, I said this at the press conference, hats off to him. He saw the opportunity, he took it. He performed at the highest level on a massive stage. I haven't fact-checked this, but our friend at the New York Post said he was #1 trending topic on X on Saturday night.
That's big.
I mean,
It was all over my feed, and of course, I'm more plugged in than a freaking light switch. But it was insane to see everyone talking. People that don't watch combat sports that I know personally were like, "Did you see this?" So,
right.
I mean, I have a lot of love for H2O, but at the same time, just hats off to Lucas, man.
Right. Absolutely.
With the whole context of taking the fight, he's never been on that stage. He's losing every round. To the fortitude, the focus, the ability, everything. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was a star-making performance.
From Tampa to Orlando. This week, we have most valuable prospects making our return. And gentlemen, first off, let me just say I'm always honored to be a part of this event. I think it's one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to do. And I've done some of the bigger events with MVP and some of the Jake fights. I just get a different feeling about these events. The opportunity to potentially call a world champions fight in their 4th fight, in their 3rd fight.
Man, I'm so excited about all the cards for the most part, but to see some of those same guys that we saw from the last card step up and get it done, there's not anything we won't see here. I think we're going to see some good knockouts. We're going to see some guys really take it to the distance. And for all those who are watching, you don't want to miss it. You want to watch every part of it.
That's the cool part about a prospect's card is no matter where you're slated on the card, for example, John Paul Rivera on the undercard his last time out, main event his time out, and I know why now.
He's special.
When we called his
He is
fight,
special.
I went,
That boy can fight.
Yeah, he looked good.
He's special.
Here's the thing. The Prospect Series, you have all these guys with just a laundry list of accomplishments, and they are very, very, high-level guys. So it's hard sometimes to delineate where the greatness is going to show during a card. And when John Paul Rivera stepped into that ring, I went, oh, my God, who is this? How did I not know about him? How do I know more about him? Mike, talk to me about this guy's, how much potential he really has.
Look, he was a world-class amateur, and world-class, everyone here knows, fans know, world-class amateur doesn't mean world-class pro.
Yeah.
But he looks like the kind of guy that is making that transition very well. He's an incredibly talented boxer, very, very smooth. The fights, he gives you the impression, I read one time, true greatness makes things look easy. He gives you the impression that the fight is very slow to him.
Yeah.
That things are moving in slow motion.
Absolutely.
He's that good of a boxer. Justin Goodson's a little bit more of an unknown, but at the level he's fought, and some of those guys, they might not have the best records, but he's fought some tough journeyman type that don't get knocked out and knocked him out. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see. He's, I think, going to bring a different style than Rivera's used to. So we're going to get to see that boxing IQ on display and see how he adjusts to it and how he adjusts to the power.
The last fight, I'm looking at Rivera fight, and I'm looking for the holes. I'm looking for where the weaknesses can be, and I didn't see them. He boxed when he needed to box. He was poised in the pocket when it was time to fight. When he had to hit hard, he hit hard. I just didn't see it. So that made me super excited about watching him this second time around, because when you see a masterpiece class being put on, you look forward to seeing it again and see if he can duplicate it. So I'm looking forward to seeing him do it, and he's doing it with a guy, like you said, 8-0, 8 knockouts. That's a dangerous guy, no matter how you look at it. And at the same time, he's a little older than Rivera. He's 29. So that age and maturity and experience may come to play, but so I'm looking forward to an amazing fight, but I'm also expecting for him to put on a class again.
Yeah.
What a great placement for Orlando in front of all the Puerto Rican fans.
Oh my
here.
God.
That's the thing too.
I love that about this stuff too. You have a lot of the Puerto Rican fan base that comes and supports, but also you have an opening for the local people here in Orlando to say, oh my goodness, like this is now our guy. We're going to get behind him. And I've seen that on the Prospect Series too. Amaury, we also have the Near, the Fear coming back. Once again,
man.
we're all familiar with him. And again, the world is becoming familiar. Coach Bob Santos in the corner. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, listen, we're very excited, and we're very high on Danier. Again, youngest Cuban Olympic heavyweight in history, and that's a lot to say from a very historic, storied program to say that.
Absolutely.
He's also, hands down, one of the nicest and greatest people you'll ever meet, and the kid brings it
Every time.
And he is the real deal. He is going to be going places in the heavyweight division. I think this is a great fight for him. It's a great step-up fight. Got him going 8 rounds now for the first time. His opponent, James Evans, has been in there with good people. He's 7-1-1. He's been in there with some tough customers. So this is a good step-up fight for Danier. All I know is he's ready. We were talking about it earlier today. He's I think that's a name that you're going to be hearing as we go forward.
7-1-1, 7 knockouts.
7 knockouts.
7-1-1,
I missed
7
that.
knockouts.
I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah, 7-1-1, 7 knockouts.
So
he's stepping up in competition, and but we're encouraged about where he's going right now.
He definitely has a live body in there with him. He don't have a guy that's just going to sit there and take it. But the one thing I can say about Danier, especially coming from that Cuban background, is historically they've been known just to be technicians, move around, outclass everyone from a technical standpoint. This new era of fighters, him leading the way, they don't just want to outbox you. They want to knock you out. They want to walk you down. And I see that in every punch that he throws. He's not trying to just touch you. He's trying to hurt you. And we need a guy like that at the heavyweight division, especially now. So that new blood is perfect for us. I'm looking for him to not only do it here, but also in the future. We may be looking at a future world champion right here.
Yeah. I mean, it's every card here at prospects. And again, we get an opportunity to see something that I just don't think we see in the sport of boxing. Some of the best fighting the best. Forget about protecting the O, because you're developing world-class talent in front of our eyes. We get a chance to do that once again this Friday, July 26th, live on DAZN here from the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, Florida. I think that's it, fellas. I think we're going to wrap up there for Larry Wade, Mike Leanardi, Amaury Piedra, and myself, Wade Plemons, and presented by Celsius. This is the Boxing Lab, presented by MVP.